Ever wondered what it's like to hit rock bottom and still claw your way back to life? At 31, I was a mess. 62 kilograms of pure despair, drowning in depression, addiction, and heartbreak, just waiting to die. I nearly ended it all, y'all, but in 15 months I turned it around, got clean, packed on muscle, and found my fire through powerlifting and arm wrestling. This ain't just my story. It's proof you can rise from the ashes, too. Stick around to see how I did it, and maybe you'll find your own spark. So, how did I end up in that dark pit I mentioned? Let's rewind to when I was 31, a walking disaster at 136 pounds, barely holding on. I'd always struggled with my mental health, never been the poster child for stability. But this was a whole new level of hell. I'd just gone through a brutal heartbreak that shattered me, leaving me stewing in pain for years. I didn't just lose a relationship. I lost myself. I was filled with hate, for everyone, for everything, even for the sunrise that reminded me I was still here. I'd sit in my dingy apartment staring at the walls, just waiting to die. My mind was a war zone, and I was losing every battle. I came so close to ending it all, y'all. I mean, a hair's breadth away from checking out for good. The thought of suicide wasn't just a whisper, it was a scream I couldn't ignore. On top of that, I was deep in addiction, numbing myself with whatever I could get my hands on. It wasn't just a bad habit. It was a full-on escape from the trauma I'd been dragging around like a ball and chain. I'd been through some heavy stuff growing up, the kind of pain that sticks with you, and that heartbreak was the final straw. My body was falling apart too. By May 2023, I could feel it shutting down. My 30s were humbling me real quick. I was 62 kilograms, skin and bones, with no energy, no hope, and no fight left. My family and friends saw the train wreck I'd become, and they were worried sick. They'd beg me to get help, to eat better, to just do something. But I was too far gone to listen. They couldn't force me to change, no matter how much they loved me. I was stuck in this vicious cycle of despair, addiction, and self-loathing. And I didn't see a way out. Deep down, I knew if I didn't do something drastic, I wouldn't make it much longer. That was the moment I realized I was standing on the edge of a cliff. Either I'd jump or I'd fight like hell to step back. Standing on that cliff I mentioned, I knew I was at a breaking point. May 2023 was my do-or-die moment. My body was screaming at me, and my mind wasn't far behind. I'd been running on empty for so long, numbing myself with addiction, that I could feel my whole system shutting down. I wasn't just tired. I was done. At 31, I was 136 pounds of skin and bones, a shell of a man who couldn't even look in the mirror without hating what he saw. My 30s were hitting me like a freight train, and I wasn't ready for the wake-up call. The depression I'd been battling for years had reached its peak, wrapping me in a darkness so thick I couldn't see a way out. Every day felt like a fight I was losing, and the thought of ending it all wasn't just a passing idea anymore, it was a plan. I'd sit there, staring at the pills on my nightstand, wondering if today would be the day I'd finally give up. The scariest part, I didn't even care anymore. I was so deep in that pit of despair, drowning in self-loathing and trauma, that I couldn't imagine a future worth living for. The heartbreak I'd been carrying for years, the addiction I'd let control me, the loneliness that crippled me. It all piled up into a mountain I didn't think I could climb. My family and friends were still there begging me to get help, but I'd pushed them away so hard they didn't know how to reach me anymore. I'd see the worry in their eyes, hear the crack in their voices, but I was too far gone to let their love pull me back. I knew if I didn't make a change, I'd be gone for good, not just emotionally, but physically. My body was on the verge of giving out, my heart racing from the stress, my hands shaking from the withdrawals. I was staring death in the face, and for the first time I realized I didn't want to die. I just didn't know how to live. That was the real conflict. I had to choose between giving up for good or fighting for a life I couldn't even picture yet. That moment of choosing to fight for a life I couldn't even picture yet It all started on May 1st, 2023. I was done staring death in the face, so I decided to take the wheel and turn things around. I kicked off by getting clean, ditching the nasty habits that had been dragging me down for years. No more numbing the pain with addiction. I faced it head-on, withdrawals and all. I switched up my entire diet, going full vegetarian, and stuck to a meal plan like my life depended on it, because it did. I started small, focusing on my health, reading up on nutrition, sleeping better, and even getting a new job to get my finances back on track. I was investing in myself for the first time in forever, saving money and putting it toward things that made me feel alive again. Then I joined a gym, and that's where the magic happened. I started gaining weight the healthy way, going from 136 pounds to 198 pounds, all natural. No steroids, just hard work. I discovered powerlifting and arm wrestling, and man, I fell hard for those sports. They weren't just about getting jacked. They gave me a purpose, something to wake up for. I'd show up to the gym, sweaty and determined, and for the first time in years, I felt like I was building something instead of tearing it down. The communities in those sports were a game changer too. I met some of the best people, folks who cheered me on and became my circle of encouragement. They didn't care about my past. They saw the guy I was becoming, and that kept me going. My passion for this healthy living stuff didn't just pull me back from the edge. It saved my life, plain and simple. I knew I'd never go back to that dark place. For me, getting strong was my way of getting my shit together. But I get that it's different for everyone. Maybe for you, it's painting, cooking, or running, whatever lights that fire in your soul. This was just my way of climbing out of that pit, one rep at a time, proving to myself I was worth fighting for. Climbing out of that pit one rep at a time showed me I'm worth fighting for. I'm 32 now, and I still have rough days. Depression, anxiety, and loneliness don't just vanish. I don't always see a bright future, but I've learned to be kind to myself. I'm human, and so are you. In my experience, getting out of a dark place starts with self-compassion, forgiving yourself, and finding what makes you feel alive. For me, it was powerlifting and arm wrestling. But for you, it might be art, music, or something else entirely. I went from a 136-pound mess to 198 pounds of strength, and if I can do it, I believe you can too. What keeps you going? What's your spark? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. If you found this journey inspiring, give it a like. And if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Let's keep spreading love and compassion, passing it along to the next person. I'm rooting for you, y'all. Peace.